Hey guys, Crow Merriam here. I've been trying to make a video with some audio for the last few days, but I've been having awful trouble with my audio rig. I guess if you're trying to do something similar, if you're trying to wire up a mic onto your Contour HD, you really need to get the soldering job right. It's not as easy as you think. I've had to redo one of the plugs 3 or 4 times, and the mic itself I had to redo and reposition, and just a bit of pressure in the wrong place seemed to cut out the mic for whatever reason. But what I wanted to make was a video about the lack of an R18 plus rating here in Australia. You may or may not be aware that in Australia, video games that are rated to be more mature than the 15 plus, the M15 plus rating, are refused classification here. So Left 4 Dead, when it was first being reviewed, it was refused classification. Valve had to go away, make some modifications to the game to make an Australian version, which was cut down and babied. It was turned into a joke, really. You shoot the zombies, they disappear. They don't pile up like they should. There's no blood and gore, and apparently that's to protect our fragile minds from being twisted and warped and forcing us to go onto violent rampages in our schools. Of course, the big flaw in all of this is that most gamers are not children. Most gamers are around the age of 30. I'm in my mid-30s, and I don't go to school. And so you know, I think most gamers want an 18 plus rating because they're not children. The one person who seems to be standing in the way of all of this is a guy called Michael Atkinson, who's the Attorney General of South Australia, and he has a whole bunch of arguments against it, and let's go through them. The first one is children might accidentally play it. Well, they might accidentally see their father's porn collection, or violent movies, and you know, the bad things that are supposed to happen when you watch violent video games or play violent video games would happen watching a violent film or sexually explicit film. The other thing he says is that games like Grand Theft Auto cause incidents like Columbine in the United States, and he doesn't want that here in Australia. Well, that's just his opinion. It actually hasn't been proven. And I think that really, if you want to know what the cause of Columbine was the easy access to firearms in the United States. Now that's the real reason right there. Got nothing to do with the games. And perhaps the kids were also bullied mercilessly like I was when I was at school, and so they flipped. I didn't have violent video games when I was a kid, but if I'd had access to guns, I might have thought about it. So yeah, that's that's the other thing. And then there's then they say that, oh well, violent video games desensitize you to violence. Well, that's a load of shit. If I saw somebody getting cut up with a chainsaw in front of me, I'd be just as revolted as the next person, and probably be running home to mummy screaming. You know, it's just it doesn't change your perception of reality. And then they say, oh, but there's a small segment of people who are unable to discern the difference between reality and a game and fantasy. Well, okay, so just because some children can't determine the difference between fantasy and reality, that means that I shouldn't get to play the games I want to play. Great, thanks. So yeah, it's a ridiculous situation, and it really needs to change. It's completely unequal at the moment. We have games with MA 15 plus ratings that really should have been refused classification. Like Left 4 Dead 1 is just as gory and violent as Left 4 Dead 2, but it wasn't modified to be sold here in Australia. So they're inconsistently applying these stupid regulations just because of some moral outrage. Anyway, that's my rant for the morning. Hopefully the audio still works.